Welcome to part 2 of the ACE THAT Test workshop. In this short tutorial, we will look at general test-taking strategies that can be applied to all types of tests, and we will also look at specific strategies for success on specific types of tests, including multiple choice tests, matching tests, true-false tests, and essay tests. When you take a test, you probably want to dive right in and get started. Not a good idea. Before you begin answering questions, you should preview the entire test. This will help you to get an overview of what's expected, calculate how much time you should allow for each question, and also help you to mentally pull forward the information the test is looking for from all the material you studied. After previewing the test, and if your instructor allows you scrap paper or to write on the test paper itself, do a mind dump and quickly jot down some of the key material you will need to remember to answer the questions. This can actually help you to relax. In addition, if you are familiar with the questions asked, you may be able to use the information in those questions to answer other questions as you progress through the test. And of course, read the written directions thoroughly and listen to all oral directions, which may contain additional and very important directions, hints, or edits to the test itself. Now that you have previewed the test, you will know if there is an essay question. If there is and it counts for the majority of the points on the test, start with the essay and give most of your time to that. But if it's only worth a small amount of points, or is a bonus, save it to last. If all the questions are multiple choice and are matching, answer all of the questions in order without skipping any, especially if the test is being done on Scantron. You have to answer the questions eventually, so just go with your gut feeling as you progress through the test. Star any questions you might want to come back to and think a little bit more about if you have time at the end of the test. But nothing is more stressful than getting to the end of the test and realizing that you've gotten off on your Scantron because you skipped questions but did not skip the corresponding spaces on the Scantron. No harm in asking the instructor to answer any questions you may have. They may not be willing to do so, but it can't hurt to ask. Trying to think like the instructor while you are preparing for the test and during the test could add to your success. By the time you take your first test in a class, you should have a pretty good picture of the instructor's style and what they feel is important for you to be getting out of the class. And remember, if the instructor allows you to write on the test, use the margins to make notes, sketch flowcharts, make mind maps, problem solve, etc., and circle or highlight keywords in difficult questions. Hopefully, while you were studying for the test, you reworded difficult material into your own words. Do the same thing with difficult questions on the test. Being able to do that emphasizes that you really understand the material, and on the test could really help you to come up with the correct answer. And remember, there are no bonus points for finishing the test early. Use all of the allotted time and do not let early finishers intimidate you to do the same. And one final word of caution. Do not go back and change an answer unless you are sure that you made an obvious mistake. If you answer all of the questions in order and go with your gut, the answers you put the first time are probably right. Time and time again during my 30 years of teaching, I would see students go back and change answers they had correct the first time. So now let's look at some specific strategies for success on multiple choice tests. Read the questions before you look at the answers and try to formulate the answer in your head. Then simply look for that answer in the answer choices. But be sure to read all of the answers before choosing one. There may be two answers that are very similar, but one may be more correct than the other. If you're not sure about an answer to a question, help yourself out by eliminating answers you know are not correct. Usually out of 4 possible answer choices, you can eliminate 2 right off the bat. Usually the correct answer is the one with the most information in it, and a positive answer choice is more likely to be the correct one rather than a negative one. So it is a good strategy to eliminate answer choices containing words like not and only. And of course, common sense tells you that as you read through all of the answer choices for a question, if one of those answer choices is obviously not true, you should not choose all of the above. And think about it. If when reading through the answer choices you find at least 2 that are true, the correct answer must be all of the above. And with questions that have none of the above as an option, make sure that none of the answer choices are true. Otherwise, go ahead and choose none of the above. Be very careful to notice words such as except, least, and false in a question. These totally change what is being asked in the question and obviously how you will answer it. And finally, if you don't have a clue about the answer to a question, and there's no penalty for guessing, guess. Better to have a 25% chance of being right for guessing than a 100% chance of being wrong for not putting an answer. When doing a matching test, match the longer side to the shorter side. For example, for a vocabulary test, read the first definition and then look down the list of single words for the matching term. This saves a lot of reading of multiple word definitions over and over again. And of course, help yourself out by making the matches you are sure of first, crossing out those matches you've already used as you go along. Process of elimination is a great strategy to use to help you to figure out the matches you are not sure of. Many students find true-false tests difficult. Here are some simple strategies that may help. A good way to start is to approach each statement as if it is true, and then determine if any part of the statement is false. Remember, for a statement to be true, every part of it must be true. Qualifying words in statements like sometimes, often, frequently, ordinarily, and generally usually indicate true answers. Qualifying words like no, never, none, always, every, and only restrict possibilities and usually indicate false statements. Long statements contain phrases set off by punctuation. You need to be sure that each phrase is true for the whole statement to be true. Negatives like no, not, and cannot can be confusing in statements. Drop the negative, read what remains, and decide if that statement is true or false. If it is true, its negative is usually a false statement. Statements that contain reasons for something, containing words like because, reason, since, etc., tend to be false. And finally, true-false tests tend to contain more true statements than false statements. So if you need to make an educated guess on a statement, guess true. And finally, let's look at how to approach essay tests. Read the question several times to be sure you know what is being asked. Pay special attention to key words in the question by circling or highlighting them. Make yourself an outline of the key points to include in your essay, and then go back and read the question a couple of times again to be sure that your outline addresses everything that is being asked. When you think you are done with your essay, go back and read the question again, read your essay, and then ask yourself these key questions. Did I answer the question completely? Did I leave out any key points? Are there key vocabulary words or phrases that should have been included in my essay to show that I truly know the material? This concludes our tutorial on test-taking strategies. I hope that you have found this tutorial helpful. If you have any further questions, please come see us in the Learning Lab in room 205. We can help you get ready for success on any type of test in any subject, and we will also be happy to talk to you about other free tutoring opportunities for improving your learning and success at CMC.